Hello fragrance family, welcome to Fragrance Therapy. I'm your host Alim. There are a few Middle Eastern houses that release so many good products every single year that you can easily put together a top 10 list with just their releases. Those brands include Lattafa, French Avenue / Fragrance World, and of course Armaf. Now I plan on doing a top 10 for each one of these houses before I do my final top 25 of the year. And man, do these guys churn out affordable releases that are still really good. Today I'm going to give you my top 10 releases from the prolific House of Armaf, so let's jump in. At my number 10 spot, we have Armaf's Beach Party, and this is a clone of Lorenzo Pizzaglia's Summer Hammer. And this thing is a summer vacation in a bottle. It blends these super juicy fruits with these fresh aquatic notes. This thing includes tropical fruits, grapefruit. They really pop up top, give it like a bright, zesty, and sweet opening. As it dries, you get tons of seawater, you get this guava note, and guava has this unique scent profile. Of course, it is fruity, but it also has this creaminess. I am a sucker for fragrances that combine like juicy fruits and salty aquatic notes, but the saltiness in this is not overpowering. It's subtly used, so you shouldn't get too scared from it. Then you get some musk and woody notes to give it like a clean, soft dry down. My biggest problem with this one was performance. Not great longevity. Projection is loud for the first 30 minutes or so, and then it does become a moderate projector. Perfect for a summer vacation or a hot summer day, as long as you can reapply it during the day. In my number 9 spot, I have Odyssey Go Mango. And trust me, this is not just another clone of God of Fire. The only real thing that they have in common is that, of course, juicy mango note. God of Fire is a bit more complex. With this release, Armaf doubled down on that super realistic mango accord. I'm talking about like the entire mango, skin and all. There's also this secondary guava note that a lot of people get, and it's not listed in the notes, but I do pick it up as well. There's also a bit of vanilla in the dry down, but again, focuses on the mango, and like the guava and the vanilla and other notes are kind of secondary. Another one with performance that's not great, but it has already gotten better as it matured, is gone from like average to good. Still not amazing, but much better than when I first smelled it. The mango in this smells truly amazing, but the fragrance as a whole is a bit one note. It would be higher on the list if it gave something extra, some depth, without being just another God of Fire dupe. But for what it is, it smells amazing. At the number 8 spot, we have Lionheart from the Club de Nuit line, and this is a clone of Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Male Elixir. And the truth is, Armaf was late to the game when it came to Le Male Elixir clones, but this one actually might be my favorite take on the DNA. Everyone knows the scent profile by now. A sweet, warm, minty lavender scent with this honey tobacco dry down. But this one opens fresher, definitely leans more into the aromatics with that mint and lavender. Of course, this is still sweet, but it's not as cloyingly sweet as the original Le Male Elixir and some of the other clones. It really does tone down that honey and focuses more on creamy sweetness like vanilla and tonka. But the dry down does get closer to the OG, and it has this really nice rich tobacco in here. Excellent performance as well. I actually prefer this to the OG. It's fresher, less headache inducing for me because of that honeyed sweetness in the OG. If you felt the same way about the OG, you thought it was a little bit too cloyingly sweet, check this one out. Next up, we have the latest release from Armaf, and that's Dunescape. Now we can all agree we didn't need another LV Afternoon Swim clone. We also definitely didn't need another YSL EDP clone, but when you combine those two together, then you give me something new and you have my attention. It opens super bright and fresh, very reminiscent of Afternoon Swim, tons of citrus and ginger. It also, that citrus in here might also give you Eros Energy vibes, but I do think this is closer to Afternoon Swim in the opening. Then it does transition more into the YSL Y scent profile, features these apples and these ozonic accords. If you're not familiar with ozonic accords, when somebody says that, it just gives it like almost like a fresh, airy, breezy feel. Performance is definitely average at best at the moment, but this is the newest bottle in my collection, especially when it comes to Armaf fragrances. So let's see how maturation will impact its performance. Armaf has done tons of hybrid fragrances this year, and I'm all for it, and this is another great one for their collection. Next up, we have Odyssey Bahamas, and this is the second tropical vacation in a bottle, but it does it very differently. This is tropical blue freshie, no doubt, but it's unique because of this really prominent juicy melon accord. And also, this is not a clone of anything as far as I know of. This, I believe, is the original creation. If not, Let me know in the comments. Anyway, the cantaloupe in here, which is that melon accord, gives it this like subtle fruity sweetness. Very different from that typical sharp zesty fruit that these tropical fragrances typically come with. And this one does also lean a little bit more into the salty marine accords as opposed to the Armaf Beach Party, but still not too overpowering, very wearable. Also a good performer for a freshie. Now look, when you smell as many fragrances as I do, I'm always on the lookout for something unique, something different. And this one might not be for everyone, I acknowledge that, but I think with its uniqueness, it really knocked it out of the park. At the midway spot, we have Armaf's newest Club de Nuit, and that's Bling. And as far as I know, this is an original creation. Sharp, tangy citrus. I particularly get grapefruit. There's also this fizziness from like a Sprite accord, clean white florals, and this creamy woody base. I don't know why this thing didn't take off. Maybe it's a cheesy name or the equally cheesy notes that you see online. Maybe it's the opening. The opening might be a little bit too sharp and turn off people, who knows? But I love that this does its own thing. Give it a shot, people, because it is one I think that will grow on you. When you first spray this, you might be like, what is this? But the more you wear it and the more you spray it on, especially as it gets warmer, I think you might really appreciate its originality. Good performance, but not great. Hopefully it does continue to improve with time. I want more of this from these Middle Eastern brands. Mix in original creations along with interesting hybrids and straight up dupes. Good release that hopefully more people will give a shot. At the number 4 spot, we have Club de Nuit Intensement Extrait de Parfum. Now when this was released, I almost wasn't going to buy it. I thought that they had done their best take on this DNA with limited edition. And while I still do love that take on the DNA, it does its own thing. With this one, they set out to make the best version of the OG CDNI and as well as Creed Aventus, of course. And I think with this one, they succeeded. It refines all the rough edges of the OG EDT. It makes it the strongest, longest lasting version of the DNA. This is actually better than the current batches of actual Aventus, especially when it comes to performance department. Crazy longevity with this one. I'm talking about 9, 10, maybe even more hours on skin. I challenge anybody to find me a current batch version of Creed Aventus that gives me that kind of performance. Going into 2026, if you want the best version of this DNA, go with this one. And if I weren't so burnt out with the scent profile, I think it would be much higher on the list. But I still can't ignore the fact that they have perfected this DNA. As I mentioned earlier, I do appreciate a good hybrid. And the next on the list is Odyssey Mandarin Sky Elixir. And this is a hybrid between JPG Scandal and Invictus Victory Elixir. In the opening, it definitely takes the citruses from the Scandal DNA, but then it does combine it with the spices of black pepper and cardamom from that Invictus Victory Elixir DNA. Both of those fragrances are definitely aromatic, and this one continues that trend. This one does it with clary sage. Then you get this earthy, woody vetiver to finish things off. Excellent performance in this one. This might be the best performer in the entire Odyssey line, and I have basically the entire line back there. You would think the citrus in here would make this like a warm weather fragrance, but definitely those deep sweet notes make it best for colder weather. Excellent hybrid fragrance. Would have been my favorite Odyssey if it wasn't for the next one. At my number 2 spot, we have Odyssey Revolution. And this actually might be a tribrid. Think Kaidel for some from Latafa with a bit of 1 million DNA and also a nice dose of Ultramale mixed in. And honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of Ultramale or the original 1 million DNA on their own, but in this, there are hints of all three, and when you combine them, they don't smell like any one of them individually. What you end up with is this super wearable, amazing fruity, sweet, and aromatic scent. The fruits come from pineapple, blackcurrant, blood orange. That creamy sweetness comes from praline vanilla and this sweet sensual plum, and the spicy aromatics come from clary sage and cardamom, and then there's also this hint of woodiness in the base. Solid performance here. It's versatile. It's signature scent worthy as well. You can wear it year round. Maybe the most versatile fragrance on the list. This is another one that I think is an amazing perfume that for some reason just didn't get the hype I think it deserves. The number 1 spot goes to one that I think is head and shoulders above the rest. My favorite Armaf release of the year is Armaf's Ombre D'Or. And there's some controversy surrounding if this is a clone or not. When it first released, I heard that this is supposed to be inspired by Maitre Premier's Crystal Saffron. Now, I had never gotten my nose on that fragrance, so I kind of just assumed that it was. But now many people are saying that there are similarities, but this is definitely an original creation. But at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. All you need to know is that this thing rocks. Not your typical mass appealing scent profile, that's for sure. it is full of divisive notes. I'm talking about iris, saffron, incense, metallic notes, but in my opinion, all that gets blended into a niche quality scent profile. It combines a bright and fresh opening with this warm, deep, slightly metallic dry down. The saffron really shines in this one, and I've said this about this fragrance when I did a full review, as well as other fragrances that feature saffron. It's quite distinct and it's not for everybody. Me personally, I love it. I grew up with that smell, but it does have this like metallic quality that turns some people off. And also, I'm not typically an incense fan, but the incense in here is very subtly used and really completely easy to wear. Monster performer. It might be the strongest performer on the list, along with the Extrait de Parfum of the Club de Nuit. And look, I have to find a way to get my nose on the original Crystal Saffron to compare the two, because if this is an original creation, we're talking about something that smells like a $300 fragrance that you can pick up for under 50 bucks. Amazing job with this release from Armaf. Well, there you have it, folks. My top 10 from one of the most prolific Middle Eastern fragrance houses, and that's Armaf. Let me know in the comments if I left any out that you would have included on the list. Also, please hit that like and subscribe button so we can continue growing this channel. And as always, stay tuned for more honest fragrance content. Until next time, I'm out.